Hey guys, and welcome to World of Tanks Weekly number 2. What's up guys? How's it going? Today we're going to look at the T-54 lightweight. Now, I'm going to admit, this is like the 4th time that I've tried to record this intro, but my video driver keeps crashing. So I'm hoping that this works out. And if it doesn't, then I'm just going to cut wherever it crashes, and I'm just going to put in the next section, and I hope it'll be fine. I'm sorry ahead of time if I have to do that, because it's really starting to piss me off, and I'm about done. So, anyway, back to the case at hand. Today we're looking at the T-54 lightweight, Russian Tier 8 light tank. It was one of the ones that came out in the 9.3 update. It's basically a T-54 clone. Now I know some of you are going to get mad when I said that, because that's a point of contention. But here's my point. It looks like a T-54. It plays very similar to a T-54 with minor adjustments because of its class. The light tank, because it's a light tank, it's going to have better camo rating. It's also a lighter tank. It doesn't do as much damage. It's also a tier less. So it sounds like there's a lot of stuff there, but at the crux of it, it's basically a T-54. It's been modified slightly to fit that tier 8 light tank role, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The T-54 is one of the best tier 9 medium tanks in the game. So to take a tank, basically take a T-54 and go, you know what if we made it a scout? I'm okay with that, because it takes the T-54 and moves it into a different role, and I can appreciate that. So, we're gonna look at 3 games today, and then we can move on from there. Game 1 is a standard game, really basic, kind of the standard game that most people will get on your average T-54 game on a win. I'm not going to show any losses because, frankly, nobody likes to see them unless they're really, really close at the end. Because most times when a tank loses, they're usually dead like 3 to 5 minutes in, and I want you guys to see the tank at its full potential, which means 5, 6, 7 minute battles where the tank survives, if not all the way to the end, at least most of the way through the end. Otherwise, there's not a lot to be gained out of looking at the tank and going over the replays and all that kind of stuff. So, first game, really standard. I'm really looking forward to it. Game 2, VIII's medal on the lightweight. VIII's medal, in case you guys don't know, is it's when you kill the last tank on the enemy team with the last bullet in your magazine. Pretty basic stuff. You run out of ammo and they run out of bodies. Really hard to do. I've only seen a handful of them done. I don't have any, although I play a lot of medium or heavy tanks, and they carry so much ammo that it's hard to shoot through all of it. So yeah, VIII's medal, ace tanker, it's a great match. Third is, we are scouting about a scout tank, so third is a scout battle. Basically, it's a scout match where the guy, I can't remember his name, but I'll find out in a bit. He goes through and does just a phenomenal job of scouting. Has like 6,000 or 7,000 points in spotting damage, which is really good. Not as good as the 9,000 that we saw in the T-49 last week, but still, it's really good. It's good to see a guy in a light tank use it as a scout. Guy picks up patrol duty and scout medals, so he does a really good job. It's another phenomenal game, so we'll check that out in just a bit. But first, I want to go over that standard game, and we'll work our way through it. We ready to go? Awesome. Let me get everything started, and here we are. So let's speed through this stuff here. All right, here we go, and we're off. So this is game number 1. You can see just a really standard game. Tier 9s and 10s should be good. So this guy's starting off with he's starting off with APCR rounds just to see if he can get some shots down here in the middle. This is important when you're bottom tier to start with high penetration, because you want to make sure that you can punish anybody you see. If you don't, then obviously they get to get into positions for free. Because he was spotted early on, he wasn't able to take that bush that he wanted to, and that FE-4202, the Tier 10 British medium tank, actually poked up all the way there and took, it's like a 400 damage shell. So he poked, he spotted one guy and paid for it. That was probably a high roll from something that did a 390 alpha, but I don't know exactly what did the damage. So T-54 lightweight is now moving up. He's not really far enough forward yet to be of complete use, but he and this 4202 are kind of out there by themselves. So what he's got to do is he's got to move up and make sure that he can support the 4202 and spot whatever he can. Now that was a really lucky spot by him, that he managed to spot that RU-251 without being spotted himself. And now he's been spotted through the hill by the RU-251. I feel like this is really slow. Am I on the right speed? Yeah, okay. Every once in a while, the tanks go a lot slower than I expect them to. But I think in part it's because I usually scream through these replays at like ×4. So it's going to look. Alright, so here we go. So he's going to move in and take some shots on this RU. RU is a pretty big tank. There you go, there's a bounce that we see there. I'm not sure where that came off of, but that's alright. So we put a shot into that RU, which is good. Pushed him back. That shot looked like it probably came from the 4202. And now he's going to try and get some more spots and maybe get some damage on this levered PTA. So there's an E50 there. The PTA, I believe, is going to pack. I can't remember exactly where he shows up, but you've got. Yeah, there he is. He is on the other side of that house. So there we go. So he'll put some shots with the PTA. He might take a shell himself. Yep, dodged one there. The PTA, he probably wasn't spotted, so the PTA took a blind shot into the bush there. And now he's going to be spotted by that RU through the hill again. This RU is absolutely doing the right thing. He knows that Lex Prime here in his T-54 is getting good shots and damage on those Tier 9 medium tanks over there in the corner. So by proxy spotting, he can kind of scare him off a little bit and give them opportunities to fire. However, big hit there. Because they're going up against an E-75 phenomenal tank, they're having a hard time as it is. Now he took a lot of damage right here from this 1390. In part, the 1390 rammed him. I don't think that was quite the right decision. I think that if the 1390 had actually tried to flank him and tried to clip him there, that would have been a better move. But luckily for Lex Prime here, the 1390 made the decision to ram him instead, and the superior armor on the T-54 definitely wins out. So, puts a shell into the lower glaciers of the IS-8. It's a weak spot on the entire IS series. Although on some it's right below the pike nose, that little triangle thing. Sometimes it's hard to penetrate depending on the angle, but he managed to put one through. And he is now by himself basically spotting and holding off a number of high tier tanks. An IS-8, a T-30, and there was something else over there that I missed. Of course, the RU's making a run now. Although he is running to his death, that FV-4202 is going to wreck him. And it looks like, that looked like an HE shell, actually. Which I don't think is the greatest of shells. Alright, he made a decision to go over the hill. I don't like that idea. And as you can see, he actually took a shot for it. It's hard to say where that came from. Probably the E50. That would be my guess. Yeah, definitely the E50. Alright, he's shooting some of the E50 here. He's going to have a hard time getting through just because of the angle on the E50. Oh, yeah, the E50 there. Because the E50 has really good armor. It's basically a light heavy tank instead of a medium. So you can play it a lot like a heavy. You can side scrape, you can ram people, you can do all sorts of stuff and really abuse the armor that tank has. Matter of fact, it looks like actually he managed to survive because that E-75 got knocked out by this T-30. So here, our friend Lex Prime is going to try to wrap around this T-34. Takes a shot, gets a hot roll, 270 damage, average is 250. So it puts in a good shot and takes him out. So all that's left is the E-50M and 2 artilleries. So we'll see what this E-50M is going to do, but he's got too much up. We got the 46 Patton, which is a tier 9 medium tank. Looks like there was a 4202 over there still. Got this 1390 rolling around behind him, put some shots into the rear. You see that bounce? Let me see that shot back. Alright, so now we got the artillery, all that's left. Got a 261. And the other one is, I think, the M5355. Maybe. I can't. Maybe it is. I'm not really good with the silhouettes yet. You'd think I would after 9,000 battles, but I really don't pay attention. Yeah, M5355. So he's going to take a shot. He puts that one into the ground. Now this tank is still bugged, so he could theoretically put a shell through the middle of the tank, but didn't happen. Alright, so it's game 1. Like I said, really standard. Wasn't a ton of damage, but that's okay. Let me load up the second game while we're chatting over this. So it was pretty decent. Like I said, really basic stuff. He didn't do everything right, but obviously that wasn't the point of the first game. It was just to show that you can kind of play around. He didn't really have a scouting role anymore, played it like a medium, and that's okay. That's fine with light tanks. I mean, you have that opportunity to do that. And on that map specifically, it's really hard to set up a passive scouting role if you're starting from the south, because there's not a lot of good bushes that you can't be easily counter spotted out of. The north side has actually a lot better, spotting positions. So they can climb the hill faster. They can. There's a good spotting point on the ridge to the east. I should probably pause before we get going for the next battle. So either way, there's a lot of stuff that the north side has that the south side doesn't. So I think he played that one right by moving up into the center and using his view range and his speed, along with a couple other tanks, to really try to dominate the middle of the map and let his team do some plays and get some work. So pretty average game, but he did pretty well, which is good. All right, game number 2. This is the one that I'm really excited about. It's the Faden's Medal. I've only skimmed through it. Let's see how it goes. You ready? That was the wrong button. That's the wrong button too. Okay, here we go.
Time to roll out.
Alright, so some of you know this as Kampanovka. And our friend here, Spielerhund, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong. Sorry. Sounds German-ish. I'm not sure the server this came off of. I'm sorry. But this will be good. So we have a move into a passive scout role and immediately spot. It's a really good bush to get in if you can get there for free. He got really lucky in only taking the one shot from the T-37. However, it does mean that he's not going to be able to come back to that bush likely. What do we have here for the outfit? He's got only AP and premium rounds, no HE. And I don't blame him for it. The HE doesn't have the penetration or the damage to really make it worthwhile. So right now he's taken a very aggressive position, which I like, but he doesn't have much backup, and his team is playing very passively. But that initial spot that he did was really important, because what it's done is he's basically lit up the team, and he kind of knows where everybody's going. So it allows his teammates then to really push where they want to. So you can see they only have 3 or 4 heavies going up on the hill, because they know that their heavies are very slowly moving. And this spot right here is phenomenal. Spotting the Tiger to the 5100 and the IS-8 all at the same time, moving up to there, really lets the team know exactly where everything's happening. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this. The 1390 is not really the important one. The IS-8 is more important. They've only got one artillery piece, and I don't know exactly where he's focused, but I would guess he's focused on the left, because that's where the danger's coming from. You can see that medium tank down there in K5 is doing an arty run. And if he finds artillery, they're going to have a hard fight on their hands. Now, I'm really impressed that this guy is taking the time to get the spots off, because I will admit that if I were in his shoes, I would not be so patient. I would be shooting the Bulldog, I'd be shooting the IS-8, I'd be shooting everything. And there we go. Lorraine 40-ton, medium tank, takes out their artillery, and now they're in a world of hurt. Because they've pushed up over the hill, while the enemy team has pushed right across that little road down there on the south, and is now moving into cap. And that's really dangerous. You absolutely have to be careful about that. And you need more than one tank. Now, thankfully, not the entire team is up there. There's a bunch that are camped right along that 7-8 line, and that can be really strong as well, but it's still very, very dangerous. Speaking of danger, I'm not quite sure what this Jagdpanther was thinking. Going directly across the field there when all of his friends took the smarter route. But he's getting ripped apart. And Spieler is still sitting tight, spotting everyone they can. He's had plenty of good shells that he could send, but he's chosen not to. Alright, E-75 takes out the Tiger II. We're now even at 3 and 3. He's still got a shot on this Jagdpanther, but he's concerned that if he fires from this position, he'll be lit up and destroyed. So instead, he's going to sit in this bush and spot everybody. And this will allow his team to make an approach and try to counterattack what has been a very, very effective attack through the south. Honestly, if Spieler wasn't here, Spieler, I don't know. If our hero, I guess I should say, was not in this particular bush, this game would be over already. The only reason it's not is because their sixth senses keep going off. So they know there's a tank somewhere. They just have to figure out where. So here he is pinging the map going, hey guys, this IS-2, if he gets up to me, I'm screwed. You have to kill him first. So he keeps getting lit up, keeps getting lit up, keeps getting lit up. But it's not looking good for our friendlies here. If they can take out the IS-2, then we'll have a better opportunity here for everything to work. So, 5100 takes out a 5100. It's awesome. We even it up. Now the battle is more even, although we just lost. Well, nope, it's even again. But most importantly is that our friendly team has taken the northwest, or the northeast, while the enemy team has taken the southwest. Now this IS-2 has just rolled by and there he's spotted. So now he's got to get out and try to outplay this IS-2. Takes a big, very dangerous. But now he's moving. So he's got to get back into cover and see if he can't hide. And that's really unfortunate that he didn't get that IS-2 because he was in a very, very strong position. But thanks to his passive scouting there, he's in the right spot, and he's ready to go. So, the more I watch this, I'm wondering if maybe I accidentally picked up the patrol duty scout one than the Faden's medal, which is certainly possible. We'll see. Because he's still got 27 rounds left. So unless he puts all of them into, not very many tanks, that won't make for a very interesting fade, right? So we'll see. Definitely winning, 11-8. Spotted the whole time. He's going to finish off this 1-1-2, I think. Yep, there's the finish. no scope, but I think he had locked on there, so that's all right. And now there's just 3 tanks left. The T-26, the T-30, which he'll be able to get behind. The T-30 is a dangerous one to roll on because he's actually facing the wrong way. And there he goes. So all that's left is artillery, and this game is over. So this one actually looks like this was the patrol duty scout, because he lit up everybody at the beginning. So that's on me for getting the wrong game. But in this case, what we see is what we saw in the same in that T-49 battle on week 1 is just an absolute phenomenal positioning of a scout, where he set up in that bush and he was able to spot the entire or nearly the entire enemy team, which in turn allowed his team to make the correct decisions to win the game. You don't necessarily do a lot of damage, but by spotting the team, what you end up giving your team is the ability to make the correct decisions on what tanks are where, and so you don't end up with single tanks going to flanks. You don't have the entire team running and ending up, imagine if you had 3 or 4 heavy tanks running in the opposite direction from where the enemy was. That could be devastating. So that's why scouting is important, because you have to know where everything is. That was actually my patrol duty. That's okay. So, game 2. Sorry, I lied at the beginning. That was the patrol duty one. Phenomenal scout game. I'm really happy with it. I think that he did a really good job in jumping into that bush. He tried to get there early, but the T-37 beat him there. That T-37 player either knew that was a very strong bush for the enemy tanks to be in, or he got lucky. Either way, it was fortuitous that he was there, but he wasn't able to live long enough to really counter his play. And once he was gone, there was nobody stopping our T-54 lightweight from hanging out in that bush and just spotting everything. Again, as with everything else, if you want to see full details, I'm going to link the replays down below, so you guys can check them out yourself, do whatever you need, and we'll move on. So, game 3, I'm pretty sure is our Faden's medal. I hope so. I hope I didn't mislabel it, because I didn't mislabel it here. I just selected the wrong one. So, game 3, Faden's medal, should be a good match. Once it loads up, we'll tune in, and it'll be awesome. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about Faden's medals, because they're really rare and they're really hard to get. So we'll see what kind of we'll start with see what kind of loadout that our gentleman tanker decides to go through. Chimelu, I don't know. It's CHMIELU. I'm gonna call him Chimmy, because I'm terrible with names, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody for pronouncing them wrong. Or I could just call him T-54. I don't know. I'll probably pick and choose. Alright, let's get into the game. We're loading up, and here we go. Alright, so this is our T-54 hero. Sorry about that. Let me get a drink. Cold tea. Love it. Alright, so T-54. This is a good matchup for him. There's only 3 tier 9s, so it's a low tier 9. Otherwise, he's got lots of juicy 7s and 8s to fire on. Really, really good matchup for the T-54 lightweight. When we look on the enemy team, what do we see? Well, we see a Yag Tiger, which is going to be impossible basically from the front, and it's even difficult from the sides or rear. And the T-54, or the T-95, which is incredibly difficult to penetrate from any angle, especially with 175 millimeters of penetration. So what are we going to see first? Well, as a scout tank, he's going to go to the middle of the map. Sometimes it's going to be dangerous, so you have to be careful where you go. But as long as you play the slopes right, you can actually do a good amount of spotting while not being shot at. So he's chosen to go the right side and then climb up over here. He's assuming that he's fast enough to spot anything that's going to make it into that E1-2 line, like that. So that T-71 should be the first tank there, and he's already been spotted. And there we go. Finally, the spot comes in. Probably not from the T-71, although I'm not sure what could have spotted him, without him spotting it in return. So he's going to play this, which isn't always great because the gun depression on this tank is not good at all. As you can see right there, now we can shoot the T-71. And there. And even then he was still high. So bad gun depression on this tank, so it's hard to play the hills appropriately. But he's going to try and do his best. Alright, took a shot from T-54. So there's his bigger brother. Taking a, what was that? 300 and... Well, it's hard to say actually, because I thought he took a... No, he didn't take a shell earlier, so that's a low roll for the T-54, so that's alright. So we've got a T-34 and a T-54, so he's actually going to be hard pressed. So I'm really not, right now at least, I don't like this play. Because although he's trying to spot with those binoculars, he's not in a good position. And he can be just ripped apart by the tanks over there. So what he needs to do is he needs to get in a position where he doesn't have to rely on gun depression and try and get the damage in that he's trying to do. Remember that if you look at the map, he's basically, they've taken the middle with this AMX 1375, this Chiri, and then him are the center of the map, and we've got two heavy tanks that are camping really, really hard, which is unfortunate because they very likely don't have the view range to help out our tanks down here in the middle, which means that they could very easily be swamped. Now, the flip side of this, the benefit is that the town combat is going decisively in his team's favor. And in part, that's because they sent a significant force of tanks in that direction, and the enemies do not have many tanks over there. So they've already pushed through, and they're actually pushing down towards the enemy camp. Hopefully, that will allow our T-54 here to be able to make a move as the other tanks relocate. What they really need is these two heavy tanks on the hill to move forward and try and provide some pressure, because otherwise it's just not going to happen. So that was the Chiri taking a shell there. It's that Pershing, and he missed again, which is alright. It's a pretty long range for a fairly inaccurate gun. But if he had those heavy supports up here, even in the river, there's a nice slope on the river that you can go hold down on that I'm really surprised they're not using. Meanwhile, the town has pushed through and they've gotten a couple of decent kills on some tier 8 tanks, but they're getting taken apart by the tank destroyers and the artillery that are camping the enemy's base. So this is going to be another hard battle for them to pull off. It's a nice shell into the side of that T-29 from a long range. So he's going to try and get just the back of the track there. Oh, it's a beautiful shell. I would probably creep forward a little bit because that's a really, really risky shot to take again. But it was true. RNG is in his favor. Let's see if he can get a high roll and finish it off. Nope, went into the building. That's what I would have been afraid of, because you need just that perfect, like almost no RNG shell. Those are really hard to get.
Enemy armor is damaged.
So puts one in the Pershing. At this range, he should expect to hit about 68% of his shots, considering the size of the Pershing compared to the size of the reticle. Actually, it would be less than... No, it would be about 68%, I think. That feels about right. So, put a shell in the Pershing from blind. It looks like now the enemy team took out the one remaining tank. They've ignored the center, which was a bad play on their part, and now they're moving in on the two heavies. Looks like there's a live over there, and I didn't get a spot on the other one, which is okay. Our friend here has 18 shots left, and he's going to attempt to push up and take care of the enemy Lova and possibly that T-25/2. Although, what he really needs to do is he needs to get over and spot that T-54 that's still alive, so that they can take him out, and then they can have the field. So there he's been spotted by the T-54 with nearly full health. There's a Lobo over there that should be sending fire down his way, and a Tiger 1. The Tiger 1 is going to get eaten apart. The Lobo only has 76 hit points. So I'm expecting him to go down soon. There he goes. Looks like he didn't get a shot in either. And then the Tiger managed to put the shells in the T-54. That was a lucky shot. But that's alright. So he's going to try and get the kill right here. Nice shot. So we'll finish him up. He's down to 2 shells of AP. He's still got 10 left of his APCR premium rounds and 3 HE rounds. Now I would assume that he's going to save the HE rounds for the artillery. But he may just need them to do any damage at all. Alright, so it's not looking good for our team here. He's up against a T-95 with 4 kills. 4 kills! Make that 5 kills. So the T-95 has single-handedly repelled that giant tank push that we saw earlier. So now it's all up to this T-54 scout. He's got a little bit of help from, can't tell what the tank is from the thing. Let's look at it. T-34-3. So another a premium tier 8 Chinese tank. It's going to have a little bit of help, but it's still going to be difficult. So he's going to have to play really, really smart and not take too many risks. And really make that 6th sense work for him. He also needs artillery to get some shells in. It's basically going to be down to artillery killing the T-95. If they can pull that off, then they've got a really good shot at winning, because there's only the T-50 or the T-34. That's, you know, a possibility of something like that. So he's trying to kill the T-71, gets it off, but he gets tracked. He's got to get out of here before artillery comes raining down on his head, because that is 100% what's going on here. Now we've got 2 tanks versus basically 4. The T-95, if he's smart, he's definitely looking in their direction. Although, last I saw, he was actually pretty far forward, so he might be making a long trip back up to cap. This Tiger 2 needs to shut up, because Artie is reloading. I don't think he understands that the VATChat 55 isn't an autoloader. So, just got spotted, but he's going for artillery. That's his goal right now. And he's loaded APCR. So, he's down, he's in the corner, there's the artillery. Oh, just dodges that. That was wonderful. But we did bounce his APCR shell. Just put the APCR rounds into the artillery and finish it off. Oh no, he tracks it. That was a waste of his premium round. Let's see if we can get it this time. There we go. Alright, Artie is down. It's now 3 versus 3. So, next up, the T-34. So he's going to play this right. He's going to get up right behind him here. The T-95... the T-25-2. The T-95 is behind him. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get shot. The T-35 looks like he's full health. Oh my goodness. And he's only got 6 rounds left. The T-34 needs to stay alive, because there's no way he has enough damage to kill the T-95. Alright, this is down to it. 5 shells left. He's going for the tracking shot. Didn't get it. 4 shells left. God, that reload. Alright, he's only down to HE. That's all he's got.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
2 shells. He's only got 2 shells left. So he's moving out to hopefully he's going to leave the 34-3 to kill the T-95. He's now in a position where the T-95 should be able to be taken out by that 34-3 if he's smart with his shots. What he needs to do is just get behind him and shoot him. Looks like he's going to pull it off. So one more shell. Oh, and the 25-2 misses. Now he's got to find him. There's the T-95. So now we've got 2 shells, both HE, against a, we're not sure how many hit points, T-25-2. He's been playing really, really well so far. Now, we know where it is, right? He's in cap. So let's go find him. Oh, and 151 health. He can do it. Oh no, it's only 14. It's only 14. He's got to get behind him and put it right in the perfect spot. Oh, and the kill. 137 damage off of an HE round into the turret. What a beautiful play. It's absolutely phenomenal. What a game. Like I said, Faden's Medal, really hard to do. That was phenomenal from our T-54 lightweight there on that last game. Absolutely awesome. I love games that come down to just the wire by a really good player who played really well. Maybe made some mistakes that I maybe didn't appreciate at the beginning. He got kind of stuck with gun depression, but really pulled it out. Smart play in the end. He knew that his HE rounds weren't going to do a lot of damage against that T-95, so instead he just went for it and understood that his 34-3 friend was going to be able to finish off the T-95. And so he had to get back, and he had the speed and technically the ammo, although it was pretty lucky at the end, to finish off the T-25-2. That first HE round was really critical. You didn't necessarily need the tracking shot, although that's really beneficial because the 25-2 has absolutely horrid turret traverse, kind of like the Hellcat does. But the benefit here is that reset cap, because cap was at 60 something, right? And so we needed to make sure that he reset cap so that they were for sure going to win even if he died, because the 34-3 was in the cap and he was already capping with 5, 6, 10 points. It really doesn't matter. The important part is that as long as the 25-2 lost cap points before our 54 lightweight died, assuming that had happened, the game would still be a win. But he pulled it off, managed to put that last HE round in the perfect spot to get the kill, 137 damage. What a game. Alright, so next week, I think we're going to do the RU-251. It's incredibly fast for a German. It's the German Tier 8 light tank that came out. Super fast. It's the fastest tank in the game, I think. It's got a top speed of like 80 something. Really lightweight. It's got a really good gun. It's just a fun tank to watch and a fun tank to play. So next week, RU-251. It's going to be great. Until that time, I will see you guys later. Bye.